I see brands wanting to have a luxury business. You know, everybody thinks that just because a product consists of natural ingredients that it's a luxury product, right? That does not define luxury, okay? Let me define luxury for you guys in a business sense, right? When we think about luxury, we need to be thinking about packaging, ingredients, fulfillment, customer service, experience, and values, right? All of those things make up the luxury experience. Luxury is an experience, okay? That means overall, the product needs to make me feel good. My purchase needs to make me feel good. The packaging of my purchase needs to make me feel good. Just the overall experience. And I feel like when you say you want a luxury business or when you are building a luxury business, it is very important that you are most definitely positioned correctly. Your messaging is the luxury experience. It's the experience that's the luxury. You don't really have to say too much when you're a luxury business. Your experience is the luxury. So, what happens when a brand is perceiving themselves as luxury but not fulfilling that client experience? Okay. This is a conversation that I am constantly seeing on TikTok about Brown Sugar Babe. So I went down a rabbit hole to put my brand strategist thinking cap on and figure out where the disconnect is. And for me personally, you don't really have to dig deep to find what the issue is, right, with the brand. The disconnect is in the client experience. When I went down my rabbit hole, I can already find so easily what the consumers are expressing. They're expressing concerns about the packaging, the pricing. Some are complaining about delivery, leakage with the brand. Some are responding to customer service. These are all things that are part of the customer experience.
Brown Sugar Babe, I do not know if I will be making any more purchases with you. I feel like we live in a time and place where the consumer is not right. Back in the day, the customer was always right. I know you see all of the complaints about the bottles. What are you doing about it? Are you making a change? Are you going to be changing this to glass? Because for the price point, we should have glass bottles and pumps. Why are we paying extra for pumps? I paid $4.97 for this at Walmart. This big size. For these price points plus shipping, ain't no way. Don't get me wrong. The product is, it's not bad, but I feel like influencers get us caught in this trap where they say that if we really want to smell that good, if we want to have the best skincare routine, then we have to have a specific product, and then we buy the product, trusting the influencer, and we get the thing, and we realize that it's underwhelming, that it's just another body oil, that you could have literally done X, Y, and Z to reach that same level of what the product is without spending a fortune. These are a lot. I had to wait until you went on sale. And as a person who had to wait for a sale, a 30% sale, not that 10% or those small sales, but I had to wait till you marked it down. I got 4, but it's like, I want these companies to treat the consumers right. I really do. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. We want pumps and we want glass bottles. They smell good. They just have this, it's a plasticky, it's some type of after smell, and I think it's because of the bottles. Like, mind you, on my first order, I got one that was deformed. Why is the top like that? Who bit my top? And then it's like not something like, if you look at the return policy, like it's not a good return policy. So there's no point in returning it. I just kept it. But it's like, it's a non-serious issue. But for me, who romanticized this purchase and this being my first purchase, it is an issue. It should be perfect. Anyway.
Let's start with the packaging. right? When you think of luxury, this is what I mean, the aesthetic and also the product and also the positioning is all in factor. Okay, so as far as like the packaging, from what I can tell on their Instagram page and just based off of their website and just off of their customers that have experienced their brand, they use plastic bottles, right? So for a luxury experience, I feel as though plastic isn't the way to go. But you can find some really nice plastic containers that are really thick and give you more premium experience. But for the price point of what is being offered, I feel as though their customers are constantly asking for glass, okay? You have to think about it. We have to listen to our customers, right? It is very important to take feedback from the people that are taking their time to spend their money with your brand, right? And I posted that on my story. Like, everything that people say about your brand isn't just haters or negativity, it's sometimes feedback to help you elevate and grow. It is necessary. I feel like it's very, 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 very vital for people to take in consideration what people are saying. Like, even with the job that I work at, I'm constantly hearing people complain about the company, the things that they want to see and fixed in the company. And I have asked about those things in our meeting to see what is being done about it, because me personally, I'm just based on solutions. I love a good solution. Okay, baby, I'm gonna find you the best solution that I could give you. I promise you that. Okay, so for me, being on, the other end of it, I completely understand the consumer and the business side of things. What consumers are saying is feedback that, needs to be considered in a business. So those are things that I feel like we should definitely take more time to look at. The customer experience, the client experience, are very vital. Okay, so that's something that people have been, wanting with this brand. They want glass containers and they want pumps, and I think some people love the experience with the current tops that they have, which is like the cabs. I feel like those definitely give the luxury experience. The branding in itself, I definitely love it. Like, I love the aesthetic, the vibe, the look. But as far as the packaging, that is that one thing that needs to elevate the brand. Okay. Also, I looked into their price point. This brand does a very nice job of producing an experience where people are able to experience different fragrances that I'm sure they can't find anywhere else. And then again, the aesthetic, the vibe of it definitely gives like premium, like this is something that I'm getting at like Sephora, or I'm buying a really expensive perfume, that type of experience. But I did take a look at their ingredient list, and that, I feel like when it comes to luxury, we need everything to be luxury. Everything. When I think of a brand at their price point, I'm thinking of a brand that uses exotic body oil ingredients. Like, give me the full experience, baby. Like, fly me some oils out that I ain't never heard of. So I think of things of that nature. We don't want anything that's too basic, that's very comparable to other brands. Like, why should I spend $65 on a 4-ounce body oil when I can find another brand that has those same ingredients and they might just package it differently? If customers are willing to, explore those options, they will. So I feel like with that, those things need some improvement on their end. And I feel like, the client experience needs to be more elevated. Like, I'm not 100% sure how their packaging is when shipments are sent off. But from what I have seen on TikTok, it is beautiful. It's gorgeous. I love the boxes that it comes in. I'm not sure if they all always come with boxes. Some people have said theirs have been delivered in like envelopes and things of that nature. But I would make sure that that client experience from shipment is the same across the whole board. I feel like that's where we lose our customers. Because again, like I said, it's all about the client experience. Like, you just don't understand how far you can get with making someone feel good about buying something. And the crazy thing about it is I see this brand everywhere, and I'm just like, for me, like I said, for me, like a 4-ounce body oil, like they would have to convince me scent wise, like what you got in stock, like what's something that makes me, you know, smell like whatever vibe I'm trying to give. Do y'all got something like that? Or do y'all got something that like, nobody else has, or it'd be rare for people to have this? I feel like that would be something that draws me in. And then also, secondly, like I said before, that ingredient list would definitely have to wow me, and it doesn't. So I feel like for me personally, like I wouldn't purchase from the brand. Like the only thing they could probably convince me on is probably my scent collection, like being able to try different scents and everything like that. But it's still not worth the pricing, right? And this brand has a perception of luxury, right? So there's some gaps in that equation that is missing to really pull people in and to keep them and to have them repeat over and over and over again. And I hate to hear that, some customers are saying they don't, get response back from the team, and, comments are deleted and people are getting blocked. You can't do that. You can't do that. I don't know who I'm talking to, but you cannot do that. Because unfortunately, when people are finding out about stuff like that, it just makes you look bad. Like, you cannot be avoidant about people having complaints about something that they are spending their money on. I know sometimes people are entitled, but you also have to have discernment about what is going on. For me, like, I would always try to get an understanding about what someone is complaining about when it came to my business. Sometimes stuff can be ignored, of course, but other times it's best to take into consideration, like, okay, it's a lot of people saying this, so what can we do to improve on this? And sometimes it's just about educating your customers. Because I know with EOS, I wish people would stop complaining about them pumps, y'all. Please, like, it ain't that serious. Like, there's no way they can create a packaging where there's not going to be product at the bottom. That's always been a thing with lotions. But that's client education. That would be something that you would have to educate your audience about. I also want to mention that another thing that people are complaining about is the shipping. I feel as though with the pricing and the ingredient list, I feel as though that shipping could be free. I feel as though shipping could be free. Even if it's just like buy 2 items, shipping is free. You know what I'm saying? For 1 item, okay, that's different, but I would try to give an experience where it's free shipping if I'm going to have luxury premium prices. Like, I want to give them the full experience. So I feel like shipping should be in consideration. Me personally, I remember spending something on a brand that was like $300, and I was kind of upset that I had to pay for shipping. Like, just include that shit in the price. I felt like this was a really good example of, you know, a brand having a luxury, you know, aesthetic, but they're not providing a luxury experience that's like consistent. I really shouldn't have to hear much about like the client experience and about like how people are being dealt and talked to. You know, that ruins luxury. You know, luxury is quiet. I think I said this in another video. I said luxury is position, it's quiet. It doesn't really, you know, do too much. It already checks all the boxes. And then when it's not checking the boxes, people start making TikTok videos, doing BBB complaints. They start making YouTube videos. They start talking about you on Reddit. Like, I literally, y'all, I be in all the spaces just researching so I can continue making videos like this and giving you guys examples to help your business, and also continue to bring people on board to get their own personalized strategy, you know, about what they could be doing, you know, in their business or in their space to elevate themselves. Because we all start a business to, you know, make money and also help others if we just keeping it real. But if you guys are interested, of course, you guys can check the description box and my link is in my bio. I can't wait to continue talking to you guys about more brand perspectives and just giving insight about what we could be doing better as skincare entrepreneurs, beauty brand founders. So I'm excited to help you guys along this journey, and I hope you guys are enjoying this series and these different types of conversations and examples. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys give me a thumbs up and make sure you guys are subscribed, and I will check you guys out in the next one.